What's a golden rule you've learned in a relationship? Take time to cool off when you're upset, so you don't say something stupid that you don't mean. Those bad words last forever, so don't say them. Can't unsay them. Can't unhear them. Better that they don't come out. To add, even if you say you didn't mean those bad things you said, the person on the receiving will often have doubts and wonder if you really meant them. This is the exact reason my biggest piece of relationship advice is fight fair. Don't hit below the belt. And don't say anything you can't take back. After 25 years of marriage, be honest. Yes, there may be a fight or hurt feelings, but honesty allows for explanation and communication. And surprisingly, after a couple of years, you'll start listening first and judging second. Well, most of the time anyway. Honesty is so important. Lies give me anxiety, giving or receiving. It's freeing to not have to deal with that. I have the memory capacity of a turnip. How am I supposed to remember lies? The truth is way easier. Never disrespect yourself for another person. As someone who waited around far too long for someone who wasn't interested and begged for the bare minimum. Trust me, don't let someone keep you on the shelf. Sometimes it's difficult to say whether someone is interested or not. They show interest but sometimes don't. And I'm just living and hoping they are interested in me, but I'm truly unsure of what's going on. If it's not an enthusiastic yes, it's a no. To be taken with a grain of salt, of course. But usually if someone wants you, they will make it known. Playing around means they aren't sure if they want you. And why settle for that when you could be with someone who is ecstatic to be with you? Thank you. Really needed to hear this now. I think we all did, bro. Keep your head up, homies. Don't forget who you are while dating someone. I lost a lot of me trying to change myself for a toxic person, but in the end they rose and I sank. Same here. I didn't even notice myself changing. I just thought I was being a good person by supporting them so much. Yes, I think this a golden rule to avoid subtle codependency. People seem to think a relationship is two halves making a whole. My advice is, never lose your individuality. You are a team, and every now and again individuals must separate and come together again. If someone wants your attention day in and day out, then they don't want a relationship. They want a slave for affection. It's not your responsibility to fix your partner. This means it is going to lead to a lot of resentment, unhappiness, and struggle the majority of the time. If they aren't willing to take control of their own life and or at the very least make an attempt to handle their own issues, hang-ups, baggage, etc., then it's probably time to evaluate if this is going to be a healthy long-term relationship. Don't set yourself on fire to keep your partner warm. They should complement your life, not complicate it. My friend's grandmother told me this when I was going through my first taste of heartbreak in my early teenage years. 20 years later, this is still the first thing that comes to my mind when I'm questioning any relationship. Similar, spend time with people who fill you with more energy than you spend on them. My grandfather told me before he died that the only thing in life that he regret was not giving his time to the people that deserved it the most. My grandpa worked hard to give my nana a house, but unfortunately that's all he ever did. He didn't create memories that lasted a lifetime. He worked for the bare minimum for his whole life, then died poor and unfamiliar to his own family, living the F dream. Never assume. You need to clarify. Always clarify before you process. Always process with time. Always take time to be alone. Come back to issues with an unclouded mind and face them together. It's never you versus your partner. It's always you and your partner versus the issue. My girlfriend once texted me about how she thought I didn't give her enough attention, which I thought was bullshit, and was about to give in to the anger. But I realized this would be a mistake, and that I should try to clear my mind first. So I left her on read for some hours, while I took some time alone to think about it. A good one. Communicate what you need for the relationship to be successful. Too many people care more about keeping the peace and continuing the relationship than they do about optimizing it. If something isn't working, you have to say something. This life is so much easier when I can just say I need attention. or I'm super needy today instead of dropping hints. Same with I need space, or I need to disconnect for a bit instead of getting weird and distant. It's romantic to dedicate yourself to your partner, but never forget that you need to look after yourself and your mental health first. As a man, people do not care about your feelings, and it's compounded by you not voicing them. Don't give away so much of your hobbies, peace, or identity that when your relationship and work are in a rough patch, you've got nothing good left going on. This isn't meant to imply you should hold people at arm's length, or that you shouldn't love your partner deeply. It's just to remind us that one of our responsibilities in a relationship is to maintain ourselves, and that sometimes maintaining your relationship looks like hunting trips, painting, meditation retreats, top golf with da boys, BJJ, or even just going to a bar and having a drink or two alone and just meeting strangers. It's like the oxygen masks on a plane. You won't be able to help others if you haven't taken enough care of yourself first. I'm going to steal from a fellow Redditor. It has stuck with me. A great partnership is one where each of you is striving to do 60% of the work. I'm thinking about that now as I lay in bed on my phone, while the dishwasher needs to be emptied. Edit. The dishwasher did get emptied by both of us about 5 minutes after I posted this. Close bracket. I recently said this to a friend about why my relationship works. We both strive to make the other's life easier. I did one of those stupid what's your love language online tests a couple years ago, and it said the love language I value most is acts of service, and it's so true lol. I just appreciate it so much when my partner does some chores around the house to take it off my plate, especially when I don't have to ask first. Such a simple and basic thing, but so important to me. Communication and respect of the individual. Basically set your boundaries early on and do your best to understand your partner's boundaries. This requires trust and empathy. If you don't have those two things, you're probably not going to have a good relationship. Can you give an example of a boundary that you'd set early in a relationship? Be yourself. Don't become small to better suit them. Trust your instinct. Communicate bravely and authentically. Instinct is a big one. If something feels wrong, don't ignore it. Whatever it is, it's at least worth introspecting about. Little things will accumulate if you don't address them as they come up. Paternity tests are significantly cheaper than child support. You know what's even cheaper than that? Being forever single. IDK. Depends on how you define the cost. Is it worth feeling lonely all the time? Research shows the happiest demographic in the US is actually single, never married women. Who knew? If she makes bizarre, baseless accusations of you cheating, it's a massive red flag. Keyword, baseless. If you're being sketchy, even if you're not cheating, prepare to be doubted, and rightfully so. It's not on your partner to be without worry in the absence of 100% irrefutable evidence. Sometimes a change in behavior is enough to take legitimate notice. You know that thing cheaters and STI spies do on TV, where they snap close their laptop when their so enters the room and badly try to play it cool, as if there wasn't some fucked up s they were doing / looking at. Don't do that. Who does that? Cheaters and STI spies, as well as people who've just been caught watching porn or are searching fires at sea parks. Do the little things. They go a long way for the right person's love language. Example, wife drinks out of water, so anytime I'm at the sink I grab her bottle and top it off. At night, I gather any bottles in the house, fill them up, and put them in the fridge, so she has cold water in the morning. I realize that my husband's love language is words of affirmation. I've been complimenting him on every little thing he does, and I thought he would think I'm joking, but he's been loving it. The happiest he's ever been, and it's cost me nothing at all to give him compliments. We did that test, and it turned out we were both doing for each other what we each wanted, and we were nearly the exact opposite. For me, touch and words. That's literally all I need. For her, acts of service and gifts, and I'm happy to do so. Literally changed out marriage. People sometimes place a significant amount of emotional weight behind incredibly minor decisions or opinions. There doesn't always have to be a rational debate over these. Sometimes you need to just let them have it. She doesn't want you to problem solve, she wants empathy with a deep voice. This is the best response yet. I couldn't agree more. If my ex-partner had this quality, we'd probably live to the tale. You can't predict if someone else will cheat on you or treat you badly. All you can do is reassure yourself that whatever happens, you will overcome it and be okay. Maybe a plus for myself, even if they treat you badly, never be the one to cheat. If you can't take your current relationship and prefer someone else, at least have the guts to end it before moving to said person. Being cheated on hurts as hell. Expect what you tolerate. If they do something forbidden once and you let it go, expect it again and again. Agreed. We often teach people how to treat us. It's best to address what you consider forbidden as soon as it happens so as not to allow it to happen again. If it happens again, they may have forgotten about your forbidden thing and a gentle reminder is in order. If it happens a third time, it'll appear as if your forbidden thing isn't respected by them. Edit. I forgot that I was in r/askman. I'm a woman. My apologies. I just wanted to agree with you. Grass is greener where you water it. Never marry my ex. I see by the upvotes. Several of you have met her. Same here. Not sure your scenario, but yes. There was a reason my ex-wife was single for a long time before we met. It was for a reason. Pretty sure she had an undiagnosed bipolar disorder. So nice, then got very mean. Then very nice for a day. Then a week's worth of pointless battles. Have boundaries, mutual respect, and open communication. If they don't have these as well, move on. You look so nice is the first thing I'd say when I'm picking her up to go out. Or what? The other day I met up with my boyfriend, and when I got out of the car he said, well, don't you just look cute as a button? And I felt like a puppy that had its head pat. He also does this little dance sometimes when he sees me pulling up to his house. 3 years strong, he makes me feel so loved. If they get upset at your boundaries, run. Try to take a step back to listen what she is saying and why she is saying without jumping to conclusions. One way I heard it was to not go in with a strategy of how you want or think the conversation should go. Never make huge decisions in the first 90 days or so. The newness of the relationship makes you blind to little things that once you settle in and become less enamored by them will start to grind away at your nerves. Also, anyone trying to keep personality traits and things hidden start to show back up. It seems like the real people show by around the 3-month mark and things they have tried to hide or change start to surface. Know when it's time to end a relationship. If you are fighting about nothing and you don't look forward to seeing them. If she asks for something in her purse, just bring the purse. Do women openly dislike this? Absolutely. Am I about to shuffle through her purse for 10 minutes? Absolutely not. Very true. My mother always told me not to shuffle through other people's pockets or purses. Back when I used to live with her, she always called me down to take out the rubbish out of my pockets before she threw my clothes into a washing machine. Not to shuffle through other people's pockets. Hollop. She always called me down to take out the rubbish out of my pockets before she threw my clothes into a washing machine. NVM. Lick it before you stick it. How else do you get the envelope to seal? Exactly. And wrap it before you tap it, you know, on the person's shoulder when you give it to them.